Today, we're taking a look under the hood of Axis Bank's latest performance report. We're going to figure out what's driving their really impressive numbers, what their game plan is for the future, and maybe most importantly, what it all actually means for you. So, let's get into it.
First things first, the headline number that really made everyone sit up and take notice, a massive 28% jump in profit from just the last quarter. Now, in a market this competitive, that kind of growth isn't just good, it is an absolutely standout performance. We're here to figure out exactly how they did it.
So, here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll kick things off with that high-level growth. Then we'll decode the bank's GPS strategy. We're going to look at each of its 3 pillars to see how they're building a stronger bank, and then we'll wrap it all up by connecting these numbers back to you.
So how in the world did they pull off that kind of growth? Well, to really get it, we need to look at their core playbook. It's something they call the GPS strategy. And you can think of it as the blueprint that's guiding every single decision they make toward long-term, sustainable growth.
Okay, so this whole strategy, it pretty much boils down to 3 key pillars. First, build a resilient franchise that can weather any storm. Second, create a real, tangible competitive advantage. And third, you've got to build for the future. These 3 ideas right here, they're the engine behind that 28% profit growth. Let's break them down, starting with number 1. So, this first pillar is all about one thing, resilience. It's about strengthening the bank's foundation. You know, it's like building a house. You absolutely need those solid fundamentals before you do anything else. For a bank, that means a steady flow of deposits, smart lending, and keeping a really tight grip on your costs.
And that foundation, it looks incredibly strong. The bank saw a 15% increase in customer deposits compared to last year. This is such a critical sign of health and public trust. It means more people, more businesses are choosing to park their money with Axis Bank, and that gives the bank the fuel it needs to run and to grow.
And then, on the other side of the coin, you see this parallel 14% growth in loans, or what banks call advances. This shows a really healthy, balanced expansion. See, they're not just taking in money, they're putting it to work by lending it out, which helps fuel businesses and people's goals. And that's the core of how a bank makes its money.
Now this here illustrates a concept called positive operating jaws. Okay, I know, it sounds a little jargony, but stick with me. It's actually a really simple and powerful idea. All it means is that the bank is growing its income from things like loan interest and fees way faster than its expenses are growing. This shows incredible efficiency and some serious discipline, which feeds right into higher profits.
Okay, let's move on to Pillar 2 and see how they're building on that solid foundation. It's not enough to just be solid, right? You also have to be smart. This pillar is all about creating that competitive edge, and for Axis Bank, that means using technology to give you a better, faster, and just plain easier banking experience.
And here's what that innovation looks like in the real world. For businesses, they have these neo-digital platforms that are making banking totally seamless. For you and me, they have new 24/7 express banking points, which means you can literally open an account or get a card anytime, day or night. In the digital payments world, they're an absolute giant, handling a whopping 39% of all UPI transactions by value. And they're also attracting more clients with special premium salary and wealth accounts that come with some pretty great benefits.
You know, the bank's CEO, Amitabh Chaudhry, he really summed it up perfectly. He said, the focus is on building sustainable, long-term solutions. So this isn't about some short-term win. It's about fundamentally changing what digital banking can be to make all our lives easier.
And that whole idea of long-term solutions, well, it leads us right into the final pillar, building for the future. A strong foundation and a competitive edge are great for today, but what about tomorrow? This is where the bank is pouring money into next-gen tech and expanding its reach to make sure it stays ahead of the game.
A perfect example is their Gen AI assistant, which is named Audi. Now, this isn't just some gimmick. It's a really powerful AI tool that's already helping over 36,000 users every single month. It answers questions, it simplifies tasks for both customers and bank employees. It just makes the whole operation run smoother.
And, all this cool future-focused tech is also doing something else that's incredibly important. It's making your money safer. The bank has rolled out new security features like face authentication that's linked with Aadhaar. This makes it extremely difficult for a fraudster to get into your account, which tackles a major worry for pretty much every single customer out there.
Building for the future also means reaching more people. The Bharat Banking Initiative is designed specifically to bring modern banking services to rural and semi-urban areas. And guess what?
It's working. Deposits from these branches are up 12%, and the bank has now blown past the 6,000 branch milestone. That's a huge step for financial inclusion all across the country. All right, so we've gone through the strategy, we've seen the numbers, but let's get to the bottom line. How does all of this financial performance and all this strategic planning actually affect you? It's time to connect the dots.
So let's really get into why you should care about all this, and we'll start with it from an investor's point of view.
For anyone looking to invest, a key thing to look at is the CET1 ratio. I know, it sounds super technical, but the easiest way to think about it is as the bank's financial shock absorber. It's a measure of how well the bank can take an unexpected financial hit without getting into any serious trouble.
And Axis Bank's CET1 ratio is sitting at a very healthy 14.50%. What that number tells investors is that the bank is well capitalized, it's stable, and it has a really strong buffer to protect itself against economic turbulence. In other words, it's a resilient investment.
And for customers, well, for us, the benefits are even more direct. All this strong performance translates into real-world improvements. You get more accessibility with 24/7 banking and more branches. You get way better security with features like face authentication. You get better digital tools on the app. And everyday tasks, like getting a card or paying a bill, just get a whole lot simpler.
When you look at the big picture, Axis Bank's quarter was about way more than just great numbers. It was about executing a really clear strategy that balances being resilient today with innovating for tomorrow. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. By blending this physical expansion with a digital-first mindset, are we looking at the new blueprint for banking in India?